All right, here we go, guys. Gather round, you quarantine lockdown clowns. I'm the biggest clown of all. I'm about to lose my mind. I actually got to move around today a little bit, so I'm grateful for that. I got to actually drive on the highway and act like a big boy today, so we're going to get more into that. Okay, I came on about 1 minute early to give me time to share this out. What does that mean? What that means is that on M2 The Rock right now is where this show is being born at. So we're going to go to, it says share right here, and you click the share button there, and it says write post. Click write post, and then you click it to your news feed. That way you share it to your news feed. And then I'm also going to share it to, right now, let's see, a group, which is M2 The Rock Facebook live channel. I'm going to share it there. And because this show is brought to you by, say it, I want to hear you say it. That's right, Healing Springs Ranch, the great Healing Springs Ranch. We want to post that on Healing Springs Ranch site because we got a co-founder, president of Healing Springs Ranch on tonight. Get used to it. She's going to be on a lot because she's got a lot to bring. So we're going live right now, bam, just like that on Healing Springs Ranch. One day I'm going to go live on Rachel Stacey's page and really trip out that fan club, okay? They need us. They probably need us. So anyways, welcome to the show. Okay, I see everybody gathering around. Got a good one tonight. We got a good one. Hello, Pedro. What's up, M2 The Rock? Great job, Pedro. Love you, brother. I appreciate your support. I need everyone right now, if you're clicking on, share this out. Share this to a group, okay? Share this to groups. We need to share to recovery groups. We need to share to your self-support group, your support groups. There's a lot of private groups out there. We need to get this shared out to everybody on there. Do hashtag shared and get this out. So we got a big one tonight. We got the great Rachel Graham in studio tonight. Before I bring her backstage, let me say, I got nothing to talk about. Everything's been canceled. All my gigs have been canceled. So I'm just going to, every day I'm just going to stand up in front of Rachel Stacey and tell my story and just preach. No, I'll be out in the street. So, all right, without further ado, let's bring on boss lady, the great Rachel Graham. Welcome back, Rachel.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you.
You too.
We got a lot of people logging on right now with online shows. It's pretty cool with the software. I've been doing some studying about, how this works. And M2 The Rock, it takes about 16 minutes for everybody to start booting on. So it's being shared out to all the platforms. And I've been studying it. So an average at about 7:47 is when we start really peaking out. So I get real nervous when I see people say, "Hi, Rabbit." That's my prison name. So that's people who really know me.
So I recognize some names out there. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. Good to see you.
I recognize some names.
So this
Peter
is
Alma.
Alma Kate, longtime follower. Lisa Hoffman. There's a Peter David Barlow II. What's up, man? His comment is, "What's up, man?" Watch this.
What's up, man?
We're gonna put him on blast right there. Look at that, right there. That's a cool name right there. That's like corporate. That's like attorney name right there.
It is official.
Good stuff. Well, listen, Rachel, we got a lot to talk about. I've had a busy day today.
What happened? What have you been doing today?
Check this out. So today was the big day. On May 8th was the date that Cameron Douglas was going to fly into town, and we were going to do the big deal for Recover Resource Council. And I was going to be their MC, and I was going to be orchestrating an interview with Cameron Douglas. And we were going to be sitting on stage and asking questions about what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today. And then also, this disease doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're Hollywood royalty. And if y'all don't know, Cameron Douglas, who is the author, wrote a book, Long Way Home. He is the son of Michael Douglas. We all know who Michael Douglas is, and Kirk Douglas, and he is the son of it. So what's it like to be in Hollywood royalty and then spiral out of control and be sentenced to 7 years in the federal penitentiary, 2 years in solitary confinement. So, yeah, so awesome day. So what happened was it got changed. So what we did is I went to a special shout out to On Air Media, Cynthia Smoot. They orchestrated, put this together and said, hey, we're not going to cancel it. Let's stay in solution. So we virtually brought Cameron in like I'm doing you, and we did a 1 hour show of an interview of interviewing him. And I will tell you this, I was a little nervous going in there because, I get in my head and I'm like going, man, this is Hollywood royalty. Like, what's he doing messing around with me? And as we got on before the show, we started recording, he was like really excited to meet me. He actually researched me. We hit it off. We exchanged numbers, and we're already texting. And it's just cool. It was a great success, Rachel.
Good.
So it was fun. And so what they're going to do, this is a neat concept because they couldn't do the live event. The live event, people purchased the tickets to show up. Okay. So they had like 2,500 people expected to be there. So people will have the links on our site and coming up, but you can actually purchase tickets for the link to see the interview with Cameron Douglas and myself. And that way Recovery Resource Council can still raise the money for what they're trying to raise the money for.
Oh, good. Well, that worked out. It's like anything in life. Sometimes some of the worst things can turn into some really cool things, right? That happen.
Yeah, it really did. It worked out. It worked out great. So it was fun. And I do want to give a special shout out to, thank you so much, Recovery Resource Council, for letting us be a part of what they're doing. And then also Cynthia Smoot for putting all that together and keeping it alive. And that's something that could have just like fizzled out, but she really kept it alive. And she's very passionate about the road to recovery. So thank you so much on that. So we'll keep you in the loop of when that's going to be out. So that's going to be fun. Rachel Graham, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to share, and you gonna have a lot to talk about. But before we get into it, let's take care of some bookkeeping, some work. What's going on at Healing Springs Ranch? Give us an update. What's going on at the ranch?
Things are going great. We have a constant stream of people reaching out. This particular time has been interesting because I think we're finding people that are struggling with maybe some newfound addictive patterns that maybe weren't an issue before this quarantine piece, but now they're using alcohol. Alcohol sales are up. I've even heard about alcohol stores actually shutting down in certain states. I don't know if that's true or not, but what I can say is that people that wouldn't otherwise find themselves in a situation with alcohol are doing it. And guess what? They're reaching out now before it becomes too big of a problem, saying, you know what? I probably need to address this. What used to be a social glass of wine has now turned into several bottles a night, every night, to deal with the kind of the fear, the concerns, and, just all the stuff that goes along with being quarantined. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what I've recognized, and I've recognized it right here in my own home, and it's all relative. There's a lot to be said that when stuff is, we're harboring, let's just talk about resentments, and we're harboring things that we just don't want to address, and we want to handle it. We're going to handle it in a way, you know what? I'm just going to get into action. I'm just going to get busy. And what I'm really doing is stuffing it. I'm not addressing it. But now that I'm quarantined, I'm locked down. Now I have to actually look at this. I have to face it. And on the show, we talk about that's called doing hard time. I got to face these feelings head on. And if I don't have any tools, and my solution to make this pain go away might be now, instead of 2 glasses of wine, might be a bottle of wine. Okay. Because I'm trying to make, as Melissa, you talk about, the pain go away. Right.
Yeah, it's scary times. I mean, there's people losing their jobs. Unemployment's going to spike. There's people and businesses. I've seen small businesses already go under as a result of this. So it's going to be a challenge. And it's not like we're just going to flip the switch back on. Everyone goes back to work and we pick up where we left off. We're going to have to figure out a new normal. We can't go back. It'll look different, I think, for many of us. And the one thing I will say, though, is in difficult times, you can find huge silver linings. So I encourage your viewers to really think about what good can come out of this. I mean, I know many families are reestablishing relationships with each other. They're doing things together instead of just sitting there on the phones like this or playing board games, doing puzzles. I can see that from just the Facebook posts, the amount of time that we're cooking together and doing things like that. So there's some amazing, beautiful things that can come out of adverse times.
That's exactly right. And I've been saying this since day one. I want to be able to walk out of this and be able to look back. And I said, you know what? If it wasn't because of the COVID-19, I wouldn't have recognized this or grown from this. Let this be an opportunity. Let it be an opportunity for our faith to grow to something healthier. The self-care. I think people are really picking up on self-care. We could talk about alcohol. We can also talk about some good things. I mean, I'm finding myself walking more. I'm finding myself communicating more. I'm finding myself listening better. I'm doing the basic blocking and tackling things that I need to be cognizant of.
Yep. It's an amazing time. I'm doing the same. I'm walking more. I think I mentioned to you before, I've had to limit the media. The media was just creating this anxiety as some of this just kept circulating the same information, some of it misinformation. So I got to a point where I'm like, I need to take it from a few credible sources. And then the rest of it, I just tune it out. I can't have it playing in the background. You absorb that stuff. And I even challenged the staff here recently to share their self-care techniques, what they're doing. And it's been really cool to see what some folks do just to manage stress and to, healthier ways of coping.
That's exactly right. If you haven't, make sure you go and like Healing Springs Ranch page because it's active. We're going to be posting videos every day, videos to educate, videos to motivate, and many videos that we're going to delegate. We're going to delegate challenges to you as Healing Springs Ranch followers to better your life. With from John Edmondson talking about mindfulness. Great video. He sent me a new one today. To Chef Corey talking about cooking, to Rachel Graham challenging people. What are you doing for self-care? And I've got some good videos in the queue that we're going to be posting out. So it's going to be, we got some content to bring out. We're going to stay in Healing Springs, staying in solution. And I love that. So speaking of Healing Springs, let's get some announcements out there that will be very beneficial to everybody out there, especially our alumni. We are on Healing Springs Ranch. Instead of doing just a normal post announcement, I'll be coming to you weekly with special Healing Springs news breaks where we can deliver to the community of what's going on at Healing Springs. But one of it we did last week was Dear Healing Springs alumni. We are starting a test pilot and asking 5 alumni to participate. Rachel, what's that all about?
So we've developed a huge alumni group, and some of the things that we wanted to do was to be able to continue to roll out programming to our alums, much like what they received at Healing Springs, but just continuing to help them in their journey, especially when we get to difficult times like right now. But to be able to deliver even content from some of the programming, the classes that I teach, which is leadership development, so stuff they can use in their everyday life, their jobs, that type of thing. And so we also are starting to form chapters. And so we have a huge chapter in a couple of cities, a couple of big chapters out there. And I want to see them stay engaged with each other, even if they weren't in treatment together, because it's phenomenal to watch. When they come back for the alumni reunion each year, it is phenomenal to watch everyone come together and to see happy, healthy people that are going and doing amazing things with their life. I want them to share that with each other and be there as a support system for each other as well. So this portal we're rolling out is an online portal where they'll have the ability as an alum, which means they have to have completed the program and graduated from the program. And they'll get to an opportunity to log into the system with their unique identifier and have access to this content, even suggested books. When we think about books or video clips or things that would be pertinent, we'll throw that up there on the site for them to see.
That's awesome. Good stuff. That's for our Healing Springs alumni. Now, speaking of alumni, we got people coming in. We have people graduating. We have people moving on. And also, I want to challenge our alumni. Part of recovery is to keep what we have. We must give it away. So continue working your program, telling your story, sharing, all that. And if any of your friends need help, reach out to anybody, reach out to us, and we are there to help. Speaking of that, with the uptick, we're just assuming that the uptick, we're going to start seeing some people, from this, when there's drama, when there's a change, people in active addiction, speaking from experience, I can't handle it. And so I really spiral out of control, either relapse or continue to up my use, up my solution, my symptom increases, and I need help. With that said, we want to be prepared for that. We are hiring at Healing Springs Ranch full-time salary and part-time contract therapist. Rachel Graham, what's that about?
Well, like you said, we're growing and we want to add to our team. So we're looking for all different types of skill sets, different credentials out there. But if you want to be part of a dynamic team and part of a treatment facility that really bridges the mental health and the addiction piece of this, and treats the whole person, really looking at what they're eating and what's going into their body, what's going in their mind, what's going in their soul, what's going into their clinical treatment, all of those things. If you want to be an active part of that, please submit your resume. We're continuing to grow, and it's exciting times for us right now. And I'll tell you that oftentimes we get some pretty acute cases of folks that are really struggling, and there's nothing more rewarding than to see that person walk off our property happy, healthy, well-adjusted, and feeling confident and able to take on the world. And they go on and do incredible things.
Absolutely.
So it's the best job in the world. I have the best job. I see people at some of the most broken places of their life. And when we show them their actual, when they come in and they admit their photo shot from there, and then we show them what they look like when they leave, and you put the two side by side, it's amazing how much they change in the time they're there with just good sleep and nutrition and all the things that go along with also the big step, the therapy and all of those aspects.
Exactly right. It is. It's a complete transformation, and we love watching that. It's very stimulating. It's very motivating on our end to watch that. So, anyways, we will have the information about the alumni announcement, and we are hiring. We will all have that in the comments after the show, so you don't have to scramble around and try to write this down, because we don't want to lose your attention, because we got some good stuff that we're going to be talking about. So we're talking about that. And then I got to address one thing, Rachel, real quick. So I've had a lot of people message me about my role with Healing Springs Ranch. And let me do that with you on here. So Healing Springs Ranch, I am their spokesperson. I am a certified recovery coach now, thanks to Rachel Graham and Melissa for putting me through that class. So I'm a certified. So I got an acronym behind my name. I guess I don't know what it is, but something. So I got that. But I love going out there one day a week and hanging out with the residents and doing 2 hours of group with the residents. So when you come to Healing Springs Ranch, we will meet. It's neat. So we'll be there to provide my experience, strength, and hope to help you out, to educate you on what works for me. And that's 12-step recovery. That's group fellowship. That's connection, and how we live life in recovery after Healing Springs Ranch. So that's what I talk about there. I'm also going to, for everybody, because I've had a lot of people asking me this, I'm also working closely with Rachel, Melissa, and John with our LifeWorks Foundation and LifeWorks Wellness. I am super excited about this. We're just scratching the surface. LifeWorks Foundation, real quick, elevator pitch, Rachel, on LifeWorks Foundation.
So we started the foundation as a nonprofit vehicle to be able to further the study, both in not just addiction, but optimal performance, what that means for each person. And so we started it from that premise, but we want to use that as a vehicle to be able to go out and do some amazing things, whether it's reaching out to children in school systems, teaching them happy, healthy emotions, teaching parents how to recognize when your child's headed down the wrong path, actually working with people trying to get them into treatment when they need treatment. So that's the foundation. But then we have LifeWorks Wellness. So we have LifeWorks Foundation. LifeWorks Wellness is actually doing intensives on different topics. So it could be on addiction. It could be on anxiety. It could be on grief and loss. We've done some already on family dynamics, when there's just family clashing and the family wants some assistance in trying to figure out how to get along better. So we'll be touching all different aspects, not just addiction under LifeWorks Wellness. And there'll be short-term kind of, when I say intensive, it's like getting a year's worth of therapy in a few days.
Right. And that's LifeWorks Wellness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be something like, hey, we don't want to be inpatient resident, but we want to hire a LifeWorks Wellness to work with us in this situation.
Right. Or maybe you're not a candidate for inpatient or residential treatment. You might be just someone that's struggling with the loss of someone very important in your life, and it's impacting your life in different ways. And you're trying to figure out better coping mechanisms or ways to process that particular loss.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, no, and anxiety too. I mean, we all struggle with anxiety. I mean, I mentioned to you earlier in the show, I'm more prone to anxiety than I am to depression. And when I hear all that media, it creates this anxiousness within me. And I have to have an awareness to recognize it so I know how to address whatever those symptoms are. And some people, and I didn't have this until a few years ago, that I really understood what anxiety is. It's a fear of the future. Depression's a look back at the past. So then you can start zeroing in on root cause. What's causing me to have this? And for me, that media hype and hysteria that was going on was just too much.
And the great thing is that's recovery. Rachel's recognizing it, right? That's the great thing, is recognizing it and getting into the now, and that's what we talk about. Back to the foundation. Did I hear you correctly that we're also trying to raise money for possible indigent people who can't afford treatment? Awesome.
Yes. We have a lot of very dialed in people that want to figure out how they can help. So we created, as a result of the demand from people asking us, look, we want to do something. We want to get involved. We want to help. How do we do that? And so that's where that originated from. I mean, one of the things that's beautiful about Healing Springs and LifeWorks Wellness and LifeWorks Foundation is they are all organically created. They happen when the time is right for them to happen, because there's people that want to help make it happen.
Yes. That's well said. Well said. So if this just touched you just off, you can message us right here at M2 The Rock, or go to healingsprings.com. I will get the message to Rachel and for LifeWorks Foundation. We are really about to come out, especially after this week. I am going to come out of the gate hard and be out there getting it, because we need people. We need help, because people need help. And
you know what? If you look here, Gregory Hyde, thank you for making this point. He says, what a great idea and concept. We need to start helping the kids with their trauma to avoid problems as adults. It's much easier to help someone before they go off the rails than it is to fix someone once they're so far off course. And so I appreciate you saying that, Gregory, because that's really important. When you can help parents recognize your child struggling and figure out the root cause of that, so they don't end up down the path of addiction or suicide or any of those types of things, it's huge.
That's exactly right. And that is Dr. Gregory Hyde, who him and his wife were on the show. They are the sound. They use the sound therapy that John Edmondson met. So Dr. Gregory Hyde, we hope y'all are doing well. Thank you for tuning in. Actually, great point. So, all right, we got some good stuff here. So now something's been brought to my attention here, that we are going to talk about the rabbit hole. We've had a lot of people all week. When I started teasing this, we've got a hashtag working, and I want everybody in the comments right now to hashtag rabbit hole. All one word. Don't put a space between it. Hashtag rabbit hole, because falling down the rabbit hole is a metaphor for falling into a troubling and surreal state or situation. So Lorna, our great partner, Lorna is her and I work together with our marketing and PR for Healing Springs Ranch. Brought this to my attention, and I said, "Whoa, this is a great show, and I want you to talk about the rabbit hole."
Yeah. Well, the rabbit hole is a metaphor for when you are going into a dark place. You could be because of mental health issues. It could be just some difficult life challenges. It could be something more severe. It could be the spiral of addiction, any of those things where your ability to cope with whatever the issue is exceeds your capability to function. And so you'll see people withdraw. That's usually the first step, is they'll dial back. They are not as connected to their friends and family. And you'll see performance issues sometimes at work, and with children, you'll see grades slip, things like that. You'll see some things, some signs, and you'll see that slowly they'll start going down the rabbit hole. And I had this discussion with a friend of mine a few years ago about, he struggles with clinical depression. And he said, I feel it. I can feel when I'm getting close to the rabbit hole. And what happened for him is he would get in it and then start this downward spiral. And that spiral could last years. And so he had to go through his own type of recovery to figure out how to manage that depression in a healthier way, and to recognize when he was getting close to the rabbit hole, and to be able to then call in tools, much like you do in any type of addiction, is then utilize the tools and the support system that you have to get yourself out of the hole, or to prevent yourself from even going into the hole.
So the rabbit hole, do I hear that it's another word for insanity? Going back down, doing the same thing over and over?
I don't know that it's just necessarily insanity. We all go into them periodically. I mean, you think about it. I mean, I might have a bad day and I allow myself to go into self-pity. That's going down a rabbit hole.
Gotcha.
I might not go deep down into it. But it's based on the Alice in Wonderland, where she actually goes down the hole chasing the rabbit. And, she saw all kinds of surreal figures down there. And so what I'm trying to do is create an awareness and give people terminology to say, and turn to their loved ones. I feel like I'm getting close to the rabbit hole. What can we do? And work together to utilize tools. Because if you don't struggle with different, like depression or anxiety, if you're not familiar with that, you don't even know what that person's going through. And so it gives a common language. I'm trying to find some language to actually allow people to share that with one another for support.
No, I like it. And I'm seeing all the hashtags in the comment, rabbit hole. So we've got rabbit hole. I fall down into the rabbit hole. Rachel, what's the solution? What is the solution to the rabbit hole?
So I came up with, it's really 4 letters, and it spells arch. Okay. You think of an arch, like you were in construction before. Right. You think of an arch. Okay. You built arch doorways, those types of things. And arch is a way of supporting that which is above it. Right. So I thought it would be easy for people to remember that, the ARCH acronym, if you will, where each letter stands for something in terms of recognizing, getting yourself out. So the A in ARCH is ARCH. The A is awareness. And that's about having a level of awareness that you're getting close or you're about to fall into the rabbit hole.
Right.
We often have physiological symptoms. It could be that you're overeating. Well, that's probably a sign that you're going in the stress rabbit hole. Does that make sense?
Right.
But having an awareness, then the R is looking at what is the root cause. So, I mean, I see all these memes and things on Facebook where people are talking about how much food they're eating now that they're quarantined. Well, there's a reason. They may be eating it because they're stressed, because they're concerned about what's going to happen, or they're fearful of situations. So you got to get to the root cause. And it's
real quick, let me jump in on this real quick, Rachel. That's a really good, they're talking about their eating. We talked about this earlier, is because we're quarantined and we're locked down, and I need to do something to change the way I feel, because I cannot stand just being still. Right. I can't stand being alone. I got to be doing something. No, we don't.
Yeah. Or how about the parents that are finding themselves in the role of teacher right now? I mean, 2nd grade math can be hard. I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous, but they're not taught math the way we were taught it when we went.
Right.
So I mean, that's a real issue. Parents being stressed, trying to help their kids with school while still managing their jobs, still keeping their household going, a lot of together time with each other. That can create a lot of stress. And the refrigerator's close by.
That's right. So the R, so it's the root cause. In order to change behaviors, you must identify the root cause that supports the triggers. The trigger can often put us in the hole. However, there is an underlying reason attached.
Yep. And I think if you ask anyone that struggled with addiction or any kind of addictive pattern, they'll tell you that there's triggers. Okay. There's certain things that trigger them. Well, those triggers are tied to something else. And so that's why I'm encouraging people to get to the root cause. It may not be that, you're just stressed, so you're going to go eat. There's something else bothering you. You're fearful about your job. You're fearful about how you're going to support your family if you lose your job, whatever it might be. But get down to the real issues. And then that root cause may be self-esteem issues, that you're fearful that maybe I can't get another job, which may not be true, but this is stories we tell ourselves, right?
That's
so
right.
it's the root cause. It's very rarely as it's not the trigger. It's something else that you've got to go deeper and really study underneath all of that.
Awesome.
Then the C is change. You got to change something. You know, you got to be willing to change something. Something's not working. You're going to have to change something. And change is hard. As humans, we don't like change. We fight it, kicking and screaming. But it's going to require that of each one of us as we go into understanding why and how to prevent the rabbit hole, so to speak. So then the last one is heal. Then you have to heal. Once you identify what those wounds or root causes are, and you're willing to make a change, you've got to heal. You've got to give yourself time and space to heal those wounds so they don't keep opening up and keep triggering you or causing you to go do whatever this thing is that you're doing that causes you to go in the rabbit hole. That makes sense.
It does. And I love this, Rachel, because the way you spell arch is ARCH. You can't spell it any other way. And my point is that this is in order for a reason. You must work it in this order. You can't heal first because you have to be aware, create awareness. You got to be aware of what it is. So it kind of reminds me of step 1 in a 12-step program. The awareness is I got to get honest. You know,
Yep.
I got to get honest with what I got to admit it. It's difficult to know that your subconscious program is running in overdrive. And the first step out of the rabbit hole is to recognize that you are approaching or on the edge of first place. You know, I got to get honest. I've got a problem. I am sitting here in my house. And you know what? Anger is a drug. Anger can be a drug, and it can absolutely kill us. So I got to be aware of that. And so what's the root cause of my anger? In order to change the behavior, I must identify the root cause and support that triggers it. What's the trigger? Fear. I'm in fear. And when I'm in fear, I don't know what to do with it, Rachel. I don't have these tools to do with it. So my fear turns into resentment, anger, and rage, isolation, and paranoia, right? Mm-hmm. So I get the root cause. Change, in order to navigate the rabbit hole, requires you to change the behavior and incorporate new tools. Examples: ending toxic relationships, exercising when stressed, learned on a trust confidence. So the change could be I need to clean my side of the street. I need to look at what role I play in this anger. Right. If I'm angry, it's because I play a role in it, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of this arch, and I want to challenge everybody here, and I think Rachel will agree with this, we don't do this alone. We don't do this alone. We got to have somebody with us that's probably a little more wise than us at the time, a little more healthier than us, like a Melissa Engel or a therapist or somebody, you know, to walk us through this. And so how do we heal? As a result of doing ARC, we get to heal from the awareness, recognizing the root cause, accepting the change, being willing to change. That's a huge deal, willingness. And then the heal is the underlying pain. One can identify the root cause, and we go spread the message. Hey, don't go down that hole. I just got out of it. And This is how I got out of it.
Right.
I love that.
If you're a spouse, partner, or a friend of someone and you see them struggling, you know, if you have some common terminology with them to say, look, I'm sensing you're withdrawing from our friendship. Something may be wrong. Can we talk about it? You know, are you getting close to the rabbit hole? It's a safe term to use. And it really gives you an opportunity to support someone without saying, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, you're acting weird, you know, you're not calling me back, you know, and go punitive. It's a way to demonstrate a loving way, or I guess a loving way to ask the question, how can I help? What can I do to help you? Because I'm noticing a shift or a change in your behavior, or a shift even in your energy. Just the slightest shift can indicate someone's getting close to the rabbit hole.
That's right. So I want to give a special shout out real quick to Rachel, to a longtime follower of ours right here. Paul Richards has been an incredible supporter of M2 The Rock since day one. Just lost his mother a couple of days ago, and I texted him, and he's up in Kansas City. We've met one time. He actually drove down to Oklahoma to watch Rachel perform a concert, and he came down there for one reason, to meet Rachel and M2. And he is amazing, and our thoughts and prayers, Paul, are with you, and continue working a great program that you do. You're such an inspiration to a lot of people. So I wanted to shout that out to Paul, because he's been there since he's been following us for almost 3 years now. Paul Richards. So Let's look at this one here from Dr. Gregory Hyde. I'm glad that he's on the show right here. Awareness requires being in the moment. When we are focused on the past or the future, our subconscious, with all of its bad programming, is in control.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
I love that. And that's the great thing about these comments, to do that. Rich, let me ask you something. You are a mom. Mm-hmm. You have kids. You run a business, numerous businesses right now. You're on the gas. You're on the gas a lot. Share with our followers, how are you doing this? What are you doing? I mean, because you're human too. So how are you doing this?
I have to check out. I have to give myself time. That's part of my self-care routine, where I turn off the phone. I turn off the ability to stay dialed in or connected, if just for a few hours. Sometimes it's a few hours. I really pay attention to my sleep patterns. I monitor my blood pressure. Something we talk about at Healing Springs, when you get heated and your blood pressure gets up, it takes about 20 minutes for you to bring it down to cool off. And so when you're running that hard, it's not uncommon for your blood pressure to spike. And so I have to be aware of those types of things. This weekend, I went fishing and, just sat there and kind of, to Dr. Hyde's point there, I was in the moment. I wasn't worried about what happened yesterday. And I wasn't worried about what's going to happen in 3 hours. I was there trying to figure out, how to enjoy this beautiful water and how to really enjoy some great company out there, even though we were social distancing because it was big enough, we had enough space. But I needed that. I needed that to turn off my brain. My brain cycles like this all night long if I don't take care of myself and watch what I eat. Right now, I'm probably joining the overeating group a little bit, which is something I'm going to have to get a hold on. But, we all have things that happen, and it's about recognizing and catching it before it goes too far down the rabbit hole to where you're really, really down. It's very, very hard to get up from that area.
That's exactly right. And I tell you, I asked that question because I want the people who are watching it that are listening to you, is that you're human too, and so am I. And we are all struggling with the same fears and anxiety that the rest of the world has. We talk about this on the show a lot. And I want to reemphasize to everybody watching is that when I catch myself going into the future, in my head alone, what happens is I get anxious, I get paranoid, I get in a lot of fear, and I start believing the voices telling me these amazing stories, crystal clear, detailed stories that aren't true. Mm-hmm. I don't like that feeling, Rachel. So what I do is I start jumping to the past because I want to get comfortable. And like you said, when I go to the past, I start getting depressed, resentful. I get resentment, I get depressed. And I can't do that. So I do this game jumping back and forth. All right. Mm-hmm. As a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, that's very dangerous because if we are in active addiction, for people who are watching this that are struggling, I will take alcohol and drugs to stop this cycle. Right. And so temporarily I stop that cycle. And let me tell everybody what that sounds like. You ready?
Yep.
That's what that sounds like. Now, in order to keep that feeling, Rachel, of, I drink more and I do more drugs, whatever it may be in my story. It might be food. It might be pornography. It might be gambling, whatever it is, shopping, online shopping. It might be that, but I'm going back and forth and I get that, so I do more and more to stay in the now. The more I do, guess what happens? It's messy. There's consequences and there's a lot of things happening. In order to make all that stuff go away, what do? I'm in the rabbit hole. I do more and more and more and more and more and more to do it. And then everything is a disaster. What is the solution to this? I love this, Arch. I love this. Awareness. Be aware that I'm doing it. That's recovery. Of being aware of it. What's the root cause? Why am I doing this? It's fear. Mm-hmm. It's fear. So what is the solution to fear that we talk about? When I talk about it at Healing Springs and I talk about it on the show, it's simply to talk about it. Reach out. If you're in recovery, an alcoholic and addict, reach out to another alcoholic or addict that's in recovery, to talk to him about the fear and to talk me off the ledge. Okay. Change. I got to change the thought. I got to shift the view. For me, I'm a spiritual guy. I got to talk to a godly man to remind myself that God's in charge. I'm not. All right. And then I can heal. When I heal, Rachel, this is good. When I heal, guess what happens? My faith gets stronger because the rabbit hole is getting smaller, right? I love that. And so that's how we get through these things. One of the greatest tools that we've ever used on this show is a gratitude list. A gratitude list. That's what gets me in the now. What am I grateful for? Golly, I did that today driving home after that interview with Cameron Douglas. Is that I'm so grateful for Rachel Graham. I'm so grateful for Melissa. I'm so grateful for John Edmondson. I mean, I get so grateful to the littlest things because that gets me right here, right now. Because the now's so safe. It's the safest place in the world. So that's the tools that work for me. I hope that helps our listeners.
I mean, getting connected to nature, like you said, you're doing more walking. I am too. And I'm actually enjoying the walk and paying attention to the walk. Historically, I might go walking and I have my AirPods in and I'm listening to music and not really paying attention, or I'm on a conference call, not paying attention. So, grab a friend even, and you keep your social distance, but you can still do stuff. Or family member, take one of your family members. If you're quarantining together, take a family member. Sometimes the best conversations come out from just a simple walk. I'm enjoying the weather in Texas has been beautiful here.
Yes.
Today it was beautiful. We had a little bit of rain, but take advantage of those nice days and get out there and just breathe. I mean, that's one thing John Edmondson works with all of us on is breathing, 10 deep breaths can shift your whole mindset. And to your point, gratitude is huge. It actually rewires the brain. When you're forced to find things you're grateful for, it causes the rewiring piece of that. And as human beings, we tend to go to the negative. I mean, you made a good point about the stories we tell ourselves. So something bad happens and we assume it has something to do with me. Somebody is short with me in a text and I think, well, what did I do to you? What is, and we take it from a negative standpoint versus maybe that person was dealing with a crisis and they wanted to take a second to get back to me to let me know that whatever the answer is to the text. And it's not about me. It's not a punitive thing. As human beings, we take things down a negative trail more often than we do positive. So one of the things we use, if it's part of the Brene Brown, but assume positive intent. Assume that somebody has positive intentions behind what they're doing. And oftentimes we're doing the very best with the things we have. And so that's something too, is to stop looking at is why is someone doing this to me and recognizing this may have absolutely zero to do with me. The fact they haven't called me back right away, or they haven't answered a text, or they were short with me when they saw me, or whatever it might be, it may have zero to do with me. And to your point, we as human beings often take it on and it causes paranoia. It causes all kinds of stuff. And then we're going right down into that rabbit hole. We're going head first into it.
That is so well said. I'm nodding my head because I can relate. I think in the comments, if you can relate to that, do #IRelate, because that is so true how I will take something. I've shared this with the family at Healing Springs Ranch. This is a perfect example. I used to drink over stuff like this. I used to drink and because I'll text Rachel Stacey, hey, good morning. I'm just thinking about you. All right. And then come 2:00 in the afternoon, I have not received a return text message. My head is telling me that all of my stuff, which is like 2 pairs of tennis shoes and a pair of jeans, is thrown out on the driveway, okay? She's run off to California, and she doesn't want anything to do with me, and that the world is coming to an end, and Judge Bennett's got a warrant out for my arrest for something that I didn't do. Because I didn't get a return text message. I see Rachel, and she just goes, I am so glad that you're home. I left my phone in your car.
Yeah, there you go. A perfect example of that.
Right. So, I mean, I build up, and I just totally made that story up right now, but it's actually somewhat true. I do these things and I build up. What does that have to do with alcoholism and drug addiction? Everything. Because what happens is the number one offender that kills drug addicts and alcoholics is resentment. Resentment. When I was interviewing Cameron Douglas today, he talked about so much. He did not have his awakening in prison until he recognized what role he played in his anger.
Yep.
It's the common denominator, resentment, the number one offender. It will kill me. And it's a result of unresolved fear, right? So if I'm in fear and I'm believing the stories in my head, which 99% of the time are never happy ending good, you know what I mean? So if I'm believing this, it's going to stimulate a resentment, all right? And if I don't talk to someone about it, okay, to talk me off the ledge, like what you just said, saying, hey, they didn't return your text. Guess what? Have you ever thought about they may be having a bad day? Did you ever think about they might be at work? Did you ever think, and all these things? I'm like, I never thought about that. And then eventually you get a return text message saying, hey, thanks for texting me. I love you too.
Yeah. Or think about this.
I'm exhausted.
Another good example is road rage. Okay, think about this. You're driving your car, somebody cuts you off, and you go from 0 to furious in 2 seconds. And you're cursing at the person and you're, talking under your breath and this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? You're going to go look through those same set of lenses the rest of your day. And you're going to be frustrated. You're going to show up at work. Let's say you're going to work, and we could go to work. You're going to work. You show up there. You're angry. You're frustrated. And then you're going to direct that energy at someone else. And then they're going to pay that ugly gift forward too.
Right.
So, I stopped letting people that cut me off get my goat. I mean, I don't worry about it. I don't give them that kind of power over me. Yeah. I recognize there must be some reason they're in a bigger hurry than me, and I'm going to let it go, And
that's a good point for this show, what we're talking about. Are you ready? I'm teeing you up. What's the root cause? So if I snap on road rage because someone cuts me off and I snap immediately, what's the real problem? The real problem is I was spiritually disconnected or spiritually sick or in a bad place before I even got into the car, right? I'm already in the rabbit hole, and it's usually a lot of times it's from an unresolved resentment from the night before, that I took to bed with me. That brings up a good point. Let's talk about that, okay? How does Rachel Graham end her night? You talk about good sleep, okay? When you do get good sleep, what is the common denominator? What do you do before you sleep?
I'll tell you a big one is I watch what I consume, and I don't mean food, in the evening. First of all, I don't snack late at night. I eat a dinner and then that's it. But I watch what I consume. I have tried to watch some of these shows that I've heard about, people talking, and they're on Netflix and they're, the latest Rage show and whatnot. And I watch them. And it's toxic for my brain. So I'm very careful about what I consume in the hours leading to my bedtime. And I will shut that off. Any kind of movies, TV, any of those kinds of things. I'm careful too who I'm around. I don't have a high degree of tolerance for people that are toxic, and I don't want those people around me. So I have a good support system. I have a healthy group of friends and family. I've got, a lot of people that care about me that I can reach out to when I'm struggling. So I'm really, really, I stay connected too. That was the other thing. I had a big birthday, and I may have said this last week when we were talking.
Oh, yeah.
And you were there, and you got to see, for an extrovert, a crazy extrovert like me, the quarantining piece of this, even though I do go to the facility, it's still difficult not seeing my friends and doing the things that we normally do. And so it was really cool to me to host a party, so to speak, online on Zoom. And we had a great time. And Rachel Stacey played for all of us. We had a blast, and people were talking about that. It was I will remember that birthday as one of the best birthdays ever. And it was also one of the least expensive birthday parties to throw.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was great to get that connection, even if it's through video. It's great to have that connection with your loved ones. So that's a great, we call it a memory point. You know what I mean? And, it was cool. What I learned from that is that, a birthday party, it was your 30th birthday. It's a big milestone. I love you for that. You just keep talking.
You got it. Hashtag 30. But anyways, it was an incredible birthday party. What a memory point. I love what you just said. You will never forget that, ever. Right. And as a matter of fact, I don't know. I hope she's not watching. And she actually went to the grocery store while we're doing the show. But Rachel Stacey's birthday is next week, and we've already got the wheels spinning to pull one for her. Now, you're going to sing at her birthday party.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. That'll be great. It was fun. And, what was really neat is we put people into different breakout rooms.
That was cool.
And meet each other. And so, I have a very diverse, eclectic group of friends and family, and it was neat to kind of see people get to know other people that they've never met before, and share some information about themselves in a little bit of a 5 to 6 person breakout session. And we had 7 countries represented. That was pretty cool.
There was 7 countries on there?
Yeah.
That was really cool. That was really cool. So I love the breakout groups. That was a great idea. So it was funny because when we were in our group, I got to the highlight of my story. It's like it was like shut off. Time me out. So it was good. So if you're just joining us, Rachel Graham, co-founder, president of Healing Springs Ranch, Melissa Caldwell Ingle. We're going to get her on this Friday. I know she's been busy and 100 miles an hour, as well as yourself, Julie Willingham, program director at Healing Springs Ranch. John Edmondson is on the show a lot, director of wellness. I love my Healing Springs Ranch family. We're just having the greatest time. I see Chef Corey on here watching the show. Mm-hmm. Chef Corey, I know he's busy. What is Chef Corey doing in the COVID-19? Anything changed in preparing food at Healing Springs Ranch?
He puts his heart and soul into those menus that he prepares for the clients. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing. And when we're talking about hiring and the fact that we were hiring, every single person at Healing Springs has a handprint on helping another human being at a very dark place when they're in the rabbit hole, and we're pulling them out.
Yes.
And so he's got a very important role because what he's preparing is actually what's healing these people too from the inside out. We've had people come in with pretty severe cirrhosis and they walk off our property when they discharge with very little, if any, evidence of it. That's a tribute to their working here and they're working on the body too. Very, very important attributes that contribute to the overall wellness of a human being.
Exactly right. For people who are just joining us on M2 The Rock, Rachel Graham, Healing Springs Ranch, announcement that we made. I'm seeing a lot of people in the comments that are in the recovery community. I want to make this announcement so you can get it out there. We're hiring. Healing Springs Ranch is hiring right now. We are looking for full-time salaried and part-time contract therapists. That's right. We are looking for full-time salary and part-time contract therapists. So if you know of anybody, we'll refer them. Message us on M2 The Rock or Healing Springs. The email address, we'll have this in the comments when we're done, is the email address is hr@healingspringsranch.com. The candidates must have a master's degree. I'm out. And at least determined status. And they got all LPC, LC. Now, what does LPC stand for? This is a good topic.
Yeah, it's a licensed professional counselor. So,
LC,
that's a master's level clinician, and that's what our clinical team, their LPC or their LPCIs, which is interns. So they're getting their hours in under an LPCS, which is a supervisor.
Gotcha. And LMFT.
Licensed marriage family therapist. They specialize in those marriage, family, dynamic relationships, which I'm glad you're bringing this up. We bring diverse people into our group, our clinical team, because we address all kinds of issues. It's not uncommon for us to not just address the situation going on with the individual, but when we bring family therapy, which is very, very important, we're dealing with marital dynamics, family dynamics, all of those types of things.
We're dealing with severe resentments from every nth degree, and we got to get to the solution of it to get well. And so licensed marriage family therapist there, and then LCDC, licensed chemical dependency counselors. We're looking at that. And then one thing is Healing Springs Ranch has a COVID-19 task force to ensure the ongoing safety of our environment. I want y'all to know, speaking from experience, I was there last week. And I did group with a mask on. It was fogging my glasses up, by the way. I was breathing. And it came off awesome. We just had a great group and got a great family out there. And it's just everybody's doing such a great job. at Healing Springs Ranch. So that is it. We're hiring there. And then once again, the alumni, if you just tuned in, if you are a graduate alumni member, we are doing starting a test pilot and we're looking for 5 alumni. I think we got a couple of them who have reached out, but 5 alumni to participate in a pilot program. Just real quick, readdress that for people who just joined us for the alumni members.
Yeah, it'll be an alumni portal where they can come in, and it's only for alumni. So you have to have graduated and completed the program at Healing Springs Ranch. And we'll be putting content out there, new video links, books that we recommend. I'm a reader, so I'll read lots of different books and share the ones I think are very pertinent. We will have different curriculum that we want to roll out. We'll do some video clips. I mean, you've been encouraging me to do more video clips, so we'll have some of those pieces out there. But I would think of it for the alums as continuing education and a way to stay dialed into community, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So LifeWorks Foundation, we've got that. We're launching that. LifeWorks Wellness, great things happening at Healing Springs Ranch. Rachel Graham, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you Thursday virtually.
Yeah.
Virtually. And we will be back. So check this. Oh, it's a good time. Real quick, everybody. I forgot to do this. Lay out the week. Check out this week. Tomorrow night, 7:30, right here on M2 The Rock. Vance Johnson, household name, NFL. I don't think he's Hall of Fame yet. But Vance Johnson, NFL 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos, will be live on M2 The Rock, and he has got an incredible story. He is an advocate on recovery. He is an advocate on domestic violence too. So this is a great story of a gentleman who was in active addiction, is very outspoken about, yes, I did put hands on my wife, and he is out there spreading a message of hope that he can change and he can heal and he can give back. Now, this is 1996. This guy has got time on his side, and we are so excited to have Vance Johnson on. I reached out to him. They reached back immediately because I met him like 2 years ago in an event, and we hit it off. And so he's going to be on tomorrow night. So I'm super excited. And as we all like to cross promote, he has just got a great message. Wednesday night, for all you M2 The Rock fans, Ashley Burgess will be back on the show. It has been a minute since she's been on. She used to be on every Thursday night with us at iHeartRadio, but she'll be back on the show. We're going to catch up with Ashley, see what's going on. See what she has to say about this lockdown and this COVID-19 and the quarantine. What solutions does she have? Yes, Jeff Whitman, he played with John Elway. So not Ashley Burgess, Vance Johnson. And then Thursday night, this is going to be exciting. Fox News, Brian Glenn will be joining us on the show. Now, Brian Glenn is the gentleman that when Judge Jennifer Bennett set me free and I left the courthouse and I went to see my dad, just ironically, he happened to be looking like, where did this luxury home builder go? He had a business show on forever called In the Know with Brian Glenn. And he wanted to know where the luxury home builder went that made so much noise in the industry for years. And so he reached out. I talked to him, told him my story. He says, wow, that makes sense. What year was this? And I said, Brian, this was Friday. I just got released. Wow. Once we did that, then we went to iHeart, heard it, and that's how it all started. So Brian Glenn, very outspoken. I'm sure he's got a lot to say about what's going on, the future of business, addiction, belief, faith, all that. And then Friday, hey, Melissa Caldwell, I'm calling you out. Friday, we want you on the show. Melissa Caldwell Engel, we're working on getting her on Friday. So good. Rachel Graham, we love you, my friend. Stay strong. You're a great leader.
Say something to you. Thank you for all that you're doing. You're living a life of purpose. And I think I can say this on behalf of all of the people that are commenting and the people that watch your show, our clients, our staff. Appreciate all that you're doing. Living a life of purpose is important. And I really appreciate and I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the folks tonight that watched the show and that commented. Thank you very much for that support. You know, I think I'm like you. I'm living a life of purpose. I'm doing exactly what I was put on this planet to do. And I think you found exactly what you're put on this planet to do. And we came about it in different ways. But we took adverse situations, and it took being smacked upside the head to finally get it and go, oh, I'm off course. This is where I need to be. So right. I just wanted to tell you I'm grateful for you, and I appreciate this opportunity and the time that we get to spend together.
Thank you, my friend. # rabbit hole. Just keep me out of the rabbit hole, Rachel.
Oh, both, I'm right there.
Both Rachels, keep me out of the rabbit hole. All right. I got 3 words. It's got 8 letters, and it's got one meaning. Don't ever forget this, everyone. I love you. We will see you tomorrow night. Good night, everyone. Bye.